Hey guys, we're on our way home and we ran into some YouTubers. What's going on? We are here with Kevin and Sarah and their daughters. How you guys doing?
Good, good to see you.
From Living Traditions, and so just want to introduce you and take a little tour of your place.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, we're glad to have you guys here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let's go walk around and then we'll get to know you a little better and talk to you as we get walking.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So why quail, and is it worth the effort for such a small bird?
It is. I think the reason for us why quail is because of the fast turnaround. They start laying eggs very quickly, they reproduce very quickly, and they get to processing age very quickly. From kind of a prepping survival standpoint, they're easy to raise. They have very low food requirements. You can actually just feed them on scrambled chicken eggs for high protein feed, and then harvest their meat, which is a lot less intensive than what you would need for raising that many chickens.
So how's it break down? So you've got raised beds over here?
Yeah, 4 raised beds here.
And then the rows over here?
And our big in-ground garden.
Now you guys grow this for yourself, but you guys also go at a farmer's market, is that right?
We do sell at a farmer's market, but we sell very little veggies at the farmer's market.
Oh, okay.
So
you sell mostly like the chicken meat and
we sell a little bit of chicken meat and rabbit meat, mostly to neighbors and that type of thing. Our goal is to be 100% self-sufficient on our homestead. So for us, it's not so much about selling things to make money. It's about raising things to spend less money. So our philosophy is this food that we're growing is worth more to us than what we could buy in a store or something like that. So I'd rather have a tomato than the 50 cents I could get for a tomato at the farmer's market.
Okay.
So our goal is to be 100% self-sufficient, and we're 100% there on meat. We haven't bought meat in a store in 7 years, and we're probably 75% there on everything else. So
that's awesome.
This is our life.
Do you guys like okra? Boys, have you ever tried okra?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
You tried it, or you just, it looks crazy?
He probably hasn't tried it.
No? Kevin and Samantha, I don't like okra. I don't like okra.
Samantha like it raw.
It's good.
Yeah, I can totally get down with that. Guess everything doesn't have to be fried.
No, but it doesn't hurt.
And these are cherry tomatoes. Do you boys like tomatoes?
They sure do.
This year our tomatoes we got from Baker Creek and from a place called Totally Tomatoes, which is another online store. We always grow half hybrids and half heirloom. The hybrids really, from a standpoint of wanting to grow a significant amount of food, the hybrids really do outperform the heirlooms.
Okay.
The heirlooms, though, obviously the benefit is we can save seeds and have those for down the road for, other years.
All right.
Those are my favorites. These.
Okay.
Those are black vernissage. Those are from Baker Creek.
Is it good? Is it good?
The bigger mess you make, the better it is.
Oh, I love peppers, and these plants are about as tall as I am. Most of these peppers are going to be used for our spice mixes throughout the year. I dry most of these, especially the hot peppers. These are Poblano peppers, which will go into the dehydrator, and I actually dehydrate them whole, so I have a lot less work to do with them. And then I'll dry them, powder them, and turn them into chili powder, taco seasoning, those kinds of things to use for the rest of the year.
There you go. These are lima beans. Or in the South, I think they call them butter beans.
Little by little you wear me down.
How do you learn to do what you do? I mean, is it just a trial and error? Or do you guys use other YouTube channels or other resources for learning? How do you guys learn?
We do. We do watch some other YouTube channels. We learn a lot from Danny and Wanda at Deep South Homestead. We really like them a lot. I think they have similar goals that we do. We learn a lot by making mistakes.
I was going to say, we do it. There's a lot of trial and error. We learned a lot in Arizona. We learned the hard way a lot trying to grow in the desert, and that was pretty difficult.
Let's talk about that.
Well,
you brought up Arizona, and I don't know a lot of your past, but I remember you mentioning you started there and then you moved here. Were you doing some homesteading, growing out there, and then what made you move from there to here?
So we homesteaded in Arizona for about 5 years. We lived there for about 20 years. The last 5 years we were homesteading, and we actually, that's where we started raising animals, started with a small garden. We got to the point where we realized that's what we wanted to do full time. So we quit our jobs. We both had good corporate jobs, quote unquote good corporate jobs, that we walked away from. We sold pretty much everything we had, our big house, and we're completely debt free, and now this is what we do full time. Neither of us work off the farm.
So how'd you pick Missouri?
Well, mainly because we both grew up in Wisconsin, where it's really cold, and then we lived for 20 years in Arizona, where it's really hot.
Yeah.
And we didn't want either one of those anymore. So Missouri was kind of somewhere right in the middle.
There you go.
And the cost of land here was reasonable. Natural resources are abundant. Taxes are low.
Season.
There's very few restrictions on what you can do.
Was like living near family ever an issue? You said you're from Wisconsin. Was that ever a factor of we wanted to be closer to family? Or
It is. It was a tough decision, especially
really
like I said, knowing, you know, my parents had moved to Arizona to be closer to us.
Did they stay there?
They did stay there. We tried to talk them into
We
moving
did.
with us, but they live in a retirement community, and
They're having the time.
they're having the time of their life
lives.
driving around in their golf
Yeah.
cart all day, and you know, so.
But this was, I mean, their dream. They're living their dream, and you know, we really needed to live our dream as well. And unfortunately, that meant we had to move away. But you know, we've never been happier in our entire lives, and you know, this is our dream come true. And everybody in our family can see how happy we are, and are happy for us.
So what's it like to grow up like this? Do you feel like do you enjoy it? Do you feel like you're missing out on anything? I guess how long have you been here versus in the city, like from Arizona?
Well, we've been here for almost 3 years, but we were still homesteading for 5 years in Arizona, so I'm kind of used to it at this point, but I think I'm learning a lot more about health and nutrition and how to grow your own food living here versus my friends that live just in the city.
Do you enjoy it, or do you feel like you're missing out on some part of life by being here separated from normal society?
I enjoy it, especially once we moved here. A lot of my friends and a lot of the kids at school are more like what we want to be like, so I feel like we fit in better in the country here than we did in the city. But yeah, I enjoy it.
How about for you someday in your life? Would you see yourself doing something like this, or would you do something? What do you want to do?
Well, I don't want to be a homesteader, but I do want to work more on growing my own food and that kind of thing.
What do you want to do?
I want to be a teacher.
Okay. Do you want to have a YouTube channel?
Probably not.
Okay. All right. What's next? Animals?
Yeah.
So you have some leghorns, white leghorns?
We have leghorns. We have barred rocks and golden laced Wyandottes.
So how'd you pick? What'd you pick?
We wanted breeds that were good at being broody, and that were good foragers.
And these are our goats. So all four of these are females, they're does. And the taller brown one is the mom of these 3 girls. And she just had her 2 babies. They just went to their new home. And then these other 3 ladies have been in with our buck, our manly buck, and so they should all be pregnant, and they should all be having their babies in October. We have chosen goats rather than cows for milk, mainly because of volume of milk that you get from a cow seems very overwhelming to me. I could probably handle 3 to 5 gallons one time a week, but not every day. Plus we don't have enough pasture to support a cow without having to buy extra hay, and we would spend a lot more hay on one cow than we would on, we actually have 5 goats right now. We go through about 1 small bale of hay a week for these 5 goats, and we would go through far more of that with a cow.
So obviously the benefits of having pigs is great. What's the pros and cons of raising them?
Honestly, I don't know any cons to raising them. I love pigs. They're very efficient in their meat conversion. You know, they're easy to raise, and you get a lot of bang for your buck for what you put in them versus what you get out of them. This will be our first year processing pigs on our own. This will be the last thing. Pigs we always took to a butcher. Everything else we process ourselves. Pigs in the past we've always taken to a butcher, but this year we're doing them ourselves. So,
like we've done chickens, ducks, turkeys. What's that been like each time you process a new animal or getting into that? So like this, going into this, processing your pig for the first time, is there any intimidation or fear? Or
Sure.
What do you?
Sure. Really, you know, once you've processed one bird, you know, the anatomy is really the same. So, and once you process a bigger animal that is not a bird, you know, the anatomy is pretty much the same. So if you're comfortable with a deer, you can be comfortable with a pig, you can be comfortable with a goat and, you know, a rabbit. Really the intimidation factor for us is, you know, a large quantity of meat, and are we gonna screw up the cuts? And really, we don't really care about getting all of that perfect. Yeah.
So we're looking at all these different animals. Samantha, what's your favorite animal on the property?
On the property is probably the pigs.
Why is that?
Well, they're just fun, and we don't usually have them like year round, so they're really fun when we have them, and they taste good.
Has it ever been hard for you guys to deal with, you know, being too friendly with them and then having to process them, dealing with loss or?
When we first started getting the animals, it was kind of hard, but now that we've been with animals so long and we know that they're meat animals, we won't get too attached to them because we know that they're gonna just help our family. So.
How about you? I'll ask you the same question. Do you want to do this someday?
Not like this big, but I would like to have like chickens and rabbits chickens for like their meat and eggs, and rabbits for meat. Yeah.
What do you want to do someday when you grow up?
Be a teacher.
Both teachers. Okay. Are you happy with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going into the meat rabbit area now. We just got some pet rabbits. We've been torn about. I would really like to get meat rabbits. Becky's not sure. One, we've never tasted rabbit, and then we're not sure if she could handle the butchering, because she's always attached to having rabbits as pets. So let's talk about that. And then that's kind of like I felt like that was like the biggest thing I ever saw from you guys early on. Was that kind of not your start, but what you felt kind of launched your
We've definitely
career
become known for raising meat rabbits because of our extensive playlist of meat rabbit videos. But yes, we raise a lot of rabbits for meat.
So what made you, what was your first plan with that? How did you decide to do it? Did you have any reservations about?
We actually started raising rabbits when we still lived in a regular neighborhood with a homeowners association, and it was really the only animal we could get away with raising. So we started raising them then and realized that we really liked them. And if you guys haven't tried rabbit, we'll happily send you home with a frozen rabbit.
That's awesome.
To take home and try.
Sure.
So
yeah, you need to try for sure. And a cookbook.
And a rabbit cookbook.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which you can get in our Etsy shop for only $5.
There you go. Link in description.
So, you know, benefits of rabbit. They are very prolific. They're fertile. They grow fast. They don't eat a whole lot, especially if you raise them in a tractor where you move them every day.
Yeah. How much grass do they eat versus the feed you give them?
If you raise them, when we raise them on pasture and move them every day, it cuts down their feed about 50%.
Nice.
Oh, Geronimo, tears keep on falling, the nighttime is out. Oh, Geronimo.
Why was this your dream life? What didn't you like about your old life? Why did you want to do this?
Freedom and happiness was really it. We wanted to work for ourselves. We wanted to spend time with our kids. We didn't want to be working, 50, 60 hours a week. We had jobs that we hated to grow old with high blood pressure and, all the things that come along with sitting at a desk for 10 hours a day. And so now that's what we get to do.
Right.
Now we say it's not about how much you make, it's about how little you spend.
Absolutely.
And that's how we live. That's why when you're asking about the veggies, well, why don't we sell a lot of them? Well, that's why, because
they're worth more to us.
We'd rather keep them than sell them. If I have to go sell tomatoes just to go to the store to buy ketchup, that doesn't make any sense. We might as well can the tomatoes we have and know what we're eating, know what we're putting in our bodies, know what we're feeding our kids.
Right.
You know, and I think the longer you're truly away from buying things in a store, the more freaky it is to go back to buying things in a store. Like, I can't even imagine eating meat that someone else raised.
Right.
That
there are all sorts of questions go through your mind about what you're putting in your mouth when it's not something that you raised and saw how it lived and processed.
Let's close it out here. So where can people contact you guys at? Where should, obviously your YouTube channel, tell them about that, what you guys are up to, just anything else you want to promote.
So our YouTube channel is Living Traditions Homestead. So definitely check us out there. We're expanding a lot. We've got a lot of big plans for this next year. We didn't talk about them all today. So we've got a lot of new things that are going to be coming up. You can also check out our Etsy shop, Living Traditions Homestead. Helps us out a lot. If you guys buy things, we have a great cookbook that we have out on rabbit recipes if you raise rabbits. So we'd appreciate it. It's only $5, so check it out.
All right, well, thanks a lot, guys. We really appreciate you letting us stop by and get all up in your business here.
Hey, we appreciate you coming.
Yeah,
so,
had a great time.
Thank you so much for showing us around. We really appreciate it and hope we just get to continue growing the friendship.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.